David Bowie, who's just turned 69, is celebrating with the release of his new album Black Star. It's one which tears up the rulebook. Some tracks last 10 minutes and there's a strong jazz influence in contrast to his previous rock album. It's his 25th studio album, which has been regarded by some as experimental, with elusive and mysterious at times lyrics. Let's take a listen now.
Just like me.
That's Lazarus from his new album. Well, here to talk in more detail with me about the release is Paolo Hewitt, a music journalist who's written a book on the veteran star. Thanks very much for coming on Showcase.
No worries.
We had a little clip there. I mean, for a man who's 69 today, he remains avant-garde, doesn't he, still?
Well, it's in keeping with his career. His career is littered with him taking left turns where most people take right turns. He's experimented with so many different styles of music and so many different images as well. I mean, this is a man who's, created characters such as Lad and Sane, Major Tom, Ziggy Stardust most famously, and who has also, attempted to write a futuristic detective story around an album called Outside, or, invented the new romantic scene with, with his look. So, this is a man for whom art is something that is a wide palette, and he wants to explore every area.
And that track is actually being played at the moment on the West End in New York, because there's a play, isn't there?
There's a off-Broadway musical that he's involved in. And in fact, it was the first time we got to hear it, Michael C. Hall, the star of Dexter, sang a version of it on one of the American chat shows, which was quite interesting.
Right. Yeah. We're going to hear another little clip now, which is of Black Star, same title as the album. Let's take a listen.
Okay.
In the villa of all men, in the villa of all men, stands a solitary candle. At the center of it all, at the center of it all, your
This eye mask that he's wearing features in both the video for Lazarus and Black Star. And there are lots of questions, aren't there? People are suggesting that perhaps this is him talking about the rise of ISIS. What are we to make of that?
Well, what happened was Bowie went to a jazz concert in 2004 in a small club in New York, and he saw a jazz group, and and he's used this band on the album, and the saxophonist said that Bowie had said to him the song was about ISIS. Bowie's spokesman has since denied this, and I think that's it might well be. And certainly if you look at the video, which is amazing, there's so many religious overtones in there, guys being crucified, religious icons, strange dances, pagan rituals, everything's thrown into the mix. So I think what Bowie really is seeking now in this new phase of his career is ambiguity, that he will not tell you what the song is about. He doesn't want you he wants you to make your own mind up. On the last track on the album, I Can't Give Away Everything, he says, saying yes when I meant no is what I've always meant to say, and so it's, he's just trying to keep it away, and it's up to you, the listener, to decide, which of course elevates this mystique even more, because you think, well, he's got the answers. What's the answer, David? Tell us the answer to
are there any lyrics that sort of make sense?
Well, there's one, Sue, in The Season of Crime, which is about a guy who buys a house and he's trying to woo this woman. He's saying, I've got the job, I've got the house, and he finds out that Sue's seeing someone else. And that's, in fact, is probably the weakest lyrics on the album, because you're not wondering, it's quite straightforward, whereas on the other songs you are thinking, well, what does I want, daydreams in my Alsatians mean, or, whatever it is, what are these songs about, and that compels you more towards the album,
This is his 25th album. Are there any killer hits on this one, do you think, or is it more for the Bowie fans to enjoy?
It's for people who love music. I don't think there's hits on there like a a Heroes or a Golden Years, or any of these classic songs. Let's Dance, for example. No, not at all. But it's for people who love music. It's for people for whom music is a very solid art form, and who they want to lose themselves in it. And he creates a whole world within this album, and that's the joy of it, entering this world, which is strange. But what he does very cleverly, when you talk about the new jazz, the free jazz music on there, a lot of the lyrics are very melodic. So you have this kind of contradiction of this kind of chaos and, sounds going there, but at the same time he's singing very sweetly, and he's singing quite melodically. So it's a really good bittersweet contrast, as it were.
He's so different to everything else that's out there at the moment. I mean, all of those tracks are between 5 and 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
Most artists wouldn't be brave enough.
Well, the title track's 9 minutes 57 and was over 10 minutes, but when they found out that iTunes wouldn't have a track which is over 10 minutes long, they had to edit it down.
Yeah.
And one thing that has to be said is the production by Tony Visconti, which is brilliant. He realises Bowie's vision. And one of the things that they do is a lot of repetition within the song. Lazarus is a good point in that. And layering it. There's so many different layers going on, and they kind of increase as the song goes on. So by the end, there's actually a very soulful element to it. You feel that Bowie is really singing his heart out here, really trying to, not in a classic Otis Redding soul style, but in his own, in his own style, in his own trying to project,
And very briefly, if you would, where does this sort of rank, if you can rank them in the...
Oh, it's one of his best.
Is it really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's saying something, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Thanks so much for joining us on the programme.
No worries.